Sawadee krab and welcome to Asean Talent, the show that will present you the stories of all talented people around the region. And for those of you who catch up with our program since the first edition, you may remember that we had earlier interviewed a young writer who has been successful with her first English book in her trilogy, and her second book, named The Nymph Treasury, has just been launched last month. This edition of Asean Talent will get into more details about this second story and more details about her stories in Asean Talent. Well, for those of you who still don't know her, the girl who is sitting beside me is Praka Nirandon, or N.Porpier, who is the writer who wrote her first English trilogy named Mermaid Apprentices for the first one, right? And the second one has just been launched last month, named The Nymph Treasury. And today we will talk more about her second version of her trilogy. Sawadee krab.
Sawadee ka.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. Let's talk about your second edition of your trilogy, The Nymph Treasury. What is it about?
Well, it's a continuation from my first novel, The Mermaid Apprentices. Like, you get the same main characters, except of course you get new characters as well who come and add like depth to the plot and everything. But I think if someone asks like, can I read the second one without reading the first one, I'd say you won't really get what's going on. You have to read the first one and then move on to the Nymph Treasury. So it's a continuation of the plot line, and it develops lots of character histories, and we learn more about the two main characters, Layla and Nathair, and their pasts.
After the launch of the Nymph Treasury, what about the feedbacks from your readers?
Lots of them have said that it's a lot more action-packed than the first one. Like my fans who write to me through either email or Facebook, they say that, oh my gosh, I literally couldn't put it down. There's so much action in it. And I have to admit, like, sometimes when I read book one, I kind of see it as an introduction to the trilogy, or rather like you're still getting used to the characters. And I remember when I was writing it, I was still getting used to the process of writing. Whereas with the second one, I found that I kind of knew more what I was going to do with it, and there's a lot more action in it. So I think it's actually, even though it's called the Nymph Treasury and people might think, oh, are nymphs for girls, just like mermaids are for girls or something, I actually think that lots of the guy readers who have actually read my books will enjoy it a lot more.
Well, Mermaid Apprentices, like, I think the very first thing that popped up was that it's mermaid. Like, who doesn't like mermaid? Like, all girls have secret fantasy of becoming a mermaid themselves since they were young. So definitely, like, having the main characters being mermaids was a definite plus, right? So, and also it's a story about adventure, about like struggle, about you being not who you think you are, and also like fighting for your friends for what is right. That is also the value that we want to implant in children today. N.Porpier series is called the Interspecies Trilogy. So there are 3 books. The first one is called The Mermaid Apprentices. The second one would be The Nymph Treasury. It is a continuation of the first book, but okay, the main protagonist, the name is Layla and Nathair. Layla and Nathair will be involved in another adventure that will have to test their friendship, their courage, and their bravery. So I definitely encourage everyone to, you know, get this book and see what it's like. But it's a lot of fun.
The launch of your book last month is the Thai version, right?
Well, the Thai version was launched officially, and the English one hasn't been launched yet, but it's still available in bookstores.
And this is the Nymph Treasury, which you can see when compared with the first one, it's kind of thicker.
Yeah, the first one I remember was like 333 pages, and the second one's like 444.
Wow, it's around 100
yeah,
pages
it's
more.
like 100-something pages more.
How long did it take you for the second book to finish it?
The first one took me a year to just write the first draft, and then I guess like another half a year to polish it. And book 2 took me a year to write as well, but it took a shorter time to polish it because like I really needed to get it out on time, on schedule, and like my publishers like and me were like, oh my god, hurry up, they're waiting, the fans are waiting, everyone's waiting, so I had to really rush with it. So yeah, I guess the editing process was shorter than the first one, but the writing time took kind of similar. I guess it's faster in a way because considering that it's longer, but then overall, yeah, it took a year.
For the launching ceremony last month for the Thai version of the Name Treasury, how was the atmosphere?
It was actually very different to the first one, because the first one was more, we had the first one at Siam Ocean World in Paragon, and it was really like, you know, aquatic mermaids, and everything was kind of new to me. Like, I wasn't really used to anything, and it was like, oh my god, my book's out. I was so really excited, and it was a huge ceremony. This one, I guess it wasn't as like huge and grand, but it was still really amazing because this time fans actually came to the event. Like, we had tons of school children come, and they were like, oh my god, that's Pierre Dawn, that's the author, oh my god. And I was just thinking to myself, like, it's so funny, and they're so adorable, and they come up to me and they ask me to sign their books. I'm like, it's like people know me more.
Right.
So it's not as new to me anymore, but I think it was still really amazing, and like the feedback I got, and the adults there who were like, oh yeah, congratulations, I still remember like last year you're still a little girl, and all that stuff.
How do you always communicate with your readers?
Most of the time it's through my Facebook fan page, because I think a lot of them don't know my email. Like, even though it's on there, they don't really know my email. So then I get a few emails here and there, but then most of the time they go on Facebook and they like the page and then they write a comment or something like that. And I always reply. I'm not one of the people who are just like, you know, ignore it. Like, I always work to reply.
Well, talking about when you were writing the Name Treasury, have you ever struggled with something during the writing time?
Well, it was really difficult, I guess, with book one, I guess the idea was that maybe I couldn't finish a book. I was always really afraid of that. Or like, what if it didn't turn out good enough or anything? With book two, it was more about, what if I write it and I finish it and it's not good as book one? Like, you know, it's really disappointing for me when I read a series and when the first one is mind-blowing and amazing and then the second one drops down. It's kind of disappointing for me. Whereas, so with this one, I was just really afraid, I guess. And also, it was really hard sometimes to just get myself going because I have so much work, so much other stuff to do that, like, sometimes I had no time to write. I just had to force myself to just sit down and just write sometimes. Because I had a deadline. And, like, everyone kept on asking me, like, when is it out? When is it out? Oh, my God. Fans would be like, I've been waiting for so long. Oh, my God. So, I don't know. I guess that aspect of it was hard. And then sometimes when you're writing, like, for me, I already have, like, a plot line to follow. Right. Kind of like a guideline for myself. But then sometimes I'm writing and then it doesn't work. Like, a certain part of it doesn't work. So I need to go and change that part and then rework it and then add some parts, take some parts out. Like, you know. I'm also looking at, I think I'm going to write my next trilogy while I'm in the States.
Next trilogy?
Yeah, I have an idea for like a next trilogy already, and it's a bit more adult than this one. Like, I don't know, the themes are more adult-ish, I guess.